To Virginia's news leader, this is WVVA News at Noon.
Welcome back. We have reached into the vault this Wednesday for a very particular reason. We want to reacquaint you with Dr. Brittany Anderson, a true example of what is possible with an education right here in the Two Virginias. The Greenbrier County native currently is a professor of education at Bluefield State, but when we first met her, she was principal of Bluefield Primary.
They are happy tears. They are. They are very happy tears. It is very humbling to hear those kind words, but there's education right now is really tough. There's a lot of things that are going on, and everyone, like myself and my teachers included, we do the best that we can to make every day the best day for the kids that come into our doors.
Meet Dr. Brittany Anderson, overcome with emotion as we read the nomination letter celebrating the gift she gives our children.
I was in a family of 5, a larger family. My sisters and I were very close-knit, but I knew that the path I wanted to make for myself, I wanted to be an example to other students, that it doesn't matter where you come from, how you're raised, that your education is that ticket out the door.
Anderson is a product of a West Virginia education, Greenbrier County schools in particular.
Because I had several that were amazing, but there were certain things that I know teachers did for me, and I look back now as a teacher, and I'm like, I appreciate that. And, there were certain things that maybe they weren't supposed to do at the time that I remember back, and I'm like, they did that for me. They did that to help me out. When I graduated from high school, I was actually on track to go into the medical field. And I just didn't feel that passion. There was something that just wasn't there, and so I said, that second semester, I said, I really think I need to take an education course. And I did, and the minute that I walked into my first education class, I knew that's where I was supposed to be.
The Concord University graduate recalls her days as a student teacher.
I wasn't just a teacher there. I wanted to also be a confidant. I wanted to also, wanted them to feel comfortable telling me things, to build those relationships with my students. And I realized that I needed my students more than they needed me.
Dr. Anderson would have stints in Mercer County as a teacher for Memorial and principal for Whitethorn before they consolidated into Bluefield Primary.
I do get emotional because there's so much passion that goes into it, but I just want to have the same impact on my students that my teachers had on me.
It is that impact and that passion that makes Dr. Brittany Anderson a hometown hero.
And 2 years later, she is still a hometown hero, but she's got a couple of new titles since we last saw her. Dr. Brittany Anderson, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, excited to have you. You now are at Bluefield State.
Yes.
Teaching education.
Yes, I'm an assistant professor of education at Bluefield State.
Exciting.
And I love it.
Yes, and so basically you're teaching the next generation of teachers.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
But on top of that, the reason we want to have you here today is because of this right here. You are also a published author.
Yes, so I've always had a passion for children's literature, and so when I got this new job at Bluefield State, it actually opened up a little bit more free time for me to dedicate to my writing. Okay. And so I was able to publish my first book, which is Pippi's Unforgettable First Day of School.
So tell me, where did you draw this story upon? I know you have an 8-year-old Asher.
Yes.
You obviously taught a bunch of children throughout the years. Where did this story personally come from?
So actually this story goes all the way back. When I was growing up, there were not a lot of books with characters that look like me. And so when I first started teaching, I was like, that's going to be a goal of mine. I want to make sure that in my classroom I diversify, have a lot of books with diversity, and then I had a hard time finding those. And so I never really had the time, but Pippi has always been a part of me. I've always wanted to have a character that looked like me, that had glasses, had Afro puffs, and so she's always been around. It's just now she's been brought to life.
Okay, and she has been brought to life. You can purchase this book, folks. We're going to post a link on our web story on WVVA.com, but tell me, how does it feel seeing actually having this idea in your head and it came to fruition?
Yes, so I think that the biggest thing for me was I wrote the book, published the book, and it was more so just a goal of mine. But then when students that I had previously or students that I've never met before
started telling me how much they loved my book, and parents were sending me pictures of their students or of their children with my book, it brought a whole different light. It was very emotional just to see them holding my book and to say, hey, you know, this little girl looks like me, or she's wearing glasses like me. And then even in the book, there is a little boy who has a hearing aid. And there's also another little boy who has on noise canceling headphones. And then there's a little girl in there that has, she's in a wheelchair. And so it was important for me to not only have a book where the main character looked like me, but for other students when they open the book to say, hey, I'm a part of that too. Those illustrations look like me. So
yes, representation matters.
Yes, it does.
And
yes.
that's what this book does.
Yes.
And these illustrations are beautiful. Literally the first thing when you see the cover, and I know you just saw the cover there at home, folks, and you see the Afro Puffs, I'm like, wow, I don't see this every day.
Right, exactly. Yes, and so it's interesting because people, they ask me, are you publishing other books? And I have a plethora of Pippi stories that are not necessarily finished, but her image every time kind of changes. Like in my next book, I guess I can kind of tell you a little bit about that, but she has French braids. And growing up, I wore French braids too, and to have other students that can see the two French braids and the ribbons at the bottom, that's just so important to me.
And again, folks, we're going to post a link on our website, WVVA.com. This is available on Amazon. Like, I can type in your name on Amazon, and boom, there's your book. Like, that's surreal, mind-blowing. Could you have thought 2 years ago when we met that this would be a thing?
No, and it didn't really, you know, I never had the intent to publish a book, but there was just this desire that I wanted to get this book out there in the hands of kids. I feel like books can just tell so many different stories, and I feel like it's our little ones, our little kids that we need to try to put so much positivity in, because obviously they're you know, the next generation, and so I just feel like this book is just one of more to come.
Yes, so be on the lookout, and please know, as more do come, I want you right back here on WVVA at noon to chat about this. This is an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you so much.
I am proud of you.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And we all should be proud of Dr. Brittany Anderson. Head to WVVA.com and you can support one of our own today.